Hello everyone. Today I'm going to highlight some of the important decisions to be taken when planning for a ODM domain move or cutover service. Often in an Office 365 tenant-to-tenant migration, the last step is to move the domain from the source tenant to the target tenant, which we call as the domain move or domain cutover. ODM, on-demand migration, the tool from Quest, has automated much of the processes of the domain move or domain cutover, making it as simple as possible for administrators to execute a domain move. Now, to plan for a domain move, there are some important decisions to be taken. The first is to list all the domains that are in scope for the domain move. Once you list all the domains in scope, check if there is a parent-child relationship between the domains. If there is, plan to move the child domain first, followed by the parent domain. Also check if the domain in scope of migration is set as the default domain. If it is, switch the onmicrosoft.com domain as the default domain in the source tenant. Now, in order to remove a domain from a source tenant, there is a requirement. The reference of the domain has to be removed from every object in the source tenant. Only then will Microsoft allow us to remove the domain from the source tenant. Now, there can be two types of objects. Objects synchronized from the local Active Directory to the source tenant via AADC, and there could also be cloud-only objects. The reference of the domain has to be removed from both of these objects. So for synced objects, the reference of the domain has to be removed from the Active Directory objects and then synchronized via AADC to the source tenant. For cloud-only objects, the reference of the domain is removed directly from the cloud-only object. Now, once all references of the domain is removed from the source tenant, the domain itself can be removed from the source tenant and then added to the target tenant. After the domain is added and verified in the target tenant, the next step or the decision to take is, should we add the corresponding address of the domain as a secondary address or as a primary address? Do we need to change the UPN in the target tenant to the domain that is being moved? So these are some of the decision points to be taken. Then finally, a decision to be taken is what happens to the emails sent by external users during the domain move. A typical domain move will take anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So what happens to emails sent to this domain during the domain move? There are two options. You can either opt to queue the mails during the domain move and then release them after the domain is moved to the target tenant, or you can choose the email release service offered by ODM, which will continually deliver or relay the mails to the target mailbox of the user during the domain move. The queuing option is called as the basic mode and the relying option is called as the advanced mode in ODM domain move. So these are some of the decisions that has to be taken when planning for a successful ODM domain move or cutover. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.